level on a scale of 0 to 9. For those of you not familiar with TRLs, a TRL of 0 is really that first eureka moment, that first conceptual spark. A TRL of 9 is a product on the shelf in the shops, and everything in between. In terms of research and development, that product development cycle really falls into 3 broad areas. In the bottom left-hand corner, underpinning R&D, TRLs roughly 1 to 3, largely the domain of the research councils. In the middle space, TRLs 3 to 6 roughly, is the area where now the TSB investment is targeted, together with industrial support, typically through 50% funded programs. And in the top right-hand corner, product development, TRL 6 to 9, which is typically where industry picks up the tab and takes products to market. The trick, obviously, is to get from the bottom left-hand corner to the top right-hand corner in as smooth a transition as possible and as quickly as possible. And you might ask, well, that's fine, so what's wrong with the picture? Well, there's nothing really wrong with the picture, except that historically, I think, we've not collectively stepped back and looked at the whole picture. We've tended to look in very stovepipe, focused, blinkered ways. Research councils fund their programs, TSB funds its programs, industry is doing what it does. And I think there's a recognition now that we need to be much better as a collective of stakeholders to look at the bigger picture and understand the bigger picture before we embark on the exploitation process at all. There are actually some things wrong with this picture, and they reflect the 2 gaps you see between my clouds, sometimes referred to as valleys of death. And these are gaps that occur in 2 places, obviously, in the exploitation chain. One is at the time when we want to take the underpinning technology from the science base and get it into an industrially applied R&D base. And that's really where this sort of proof of concept idea comes in. And arguably, we need to be looking much more at putting investment into that space. And then there's a second gap, which is how do you take a technology that has been demonstrated in an industrial environment, but maybe in a corporate research laboratory, and actually get it out into the product development space. And there, you're talking probably about something called pre-product demonstration. They're similar in type. It's about demonstrating, it's about de-risking. The difference is the bottom one probably costs of the order of tens of thousands of pounds, the upper one at least an order of magnitude or more. However, the message is, I think, that collectively as a community, as a collection of stakeholders, we need to be stepping back, looking at the bigger picture and addressing in particular these proof of concept and demonstration activities. Okay, the way forward. What will the Technology Strategy Board actually be doing over the next 3 years in the field of advanced materials? This really summarises what I've already said. First of all, we will be investing in materials technologies which address these 2 key challenge areas of the energy and the environment, and promoting a focus on sustainability, this reduce, reuse, recycle agenda. We'll continue to invest in materials for healthcare, and we'll begin to explore opportunities for the development and exploitation of materials in the creative industries sector. We're also going to be working much more closely than previously, perhaps, with other stakeholder communities of various kinds, and to work with them to do a number of things. For example, to try and identify opportunities for joint or aligned activities, maybe generic underpinning R&D with the research councils, maybe proof of concept studies with the regional development agencies, but broadly bringing in other stakeholder groups. We're also going to be looking again with other stakeholders at this whole metrology and standards development area, which is key to a lot of aspects of materials exploitation. And we're going to be looking more internationally, both in Europe and elsewhere, again with other stakeholders, looking at where there might be opportunities for financial gearing to help improve UK competitiveness and to stimulate inward investment. So a lot of cross-stakeholder activity. And last but not least, in the context of today, we're going to continue to support what we're now calling an innovation culture. This is really about people, it's about networks, and part of that will obviously involve the knowledge transfer networks, the materials knowledge transfer networks, but also, as Patrick pointed out, the need to have a better cross-KTN interaction in the future with KTNs that have something to offer this one and vice versa. So in summary then, I hope and believe that the strategy that I've presented to you today, very much in brief, is a holistic and challenge-based approach that aims to provide continuity and long-term commitment in some of these key areas, to support the UK as a provider of high-value products, processes and services, obviously through the development of innovative advanced materials technologies and their application. And I certainly hope that over the coming months and indeed years that we'll be able to work with you here and your colleagues in bringing this strategy to fruition. Thank you very much.